Hi, this is Kritika Pushkarna from Times Food, and today we are going to speak to Chef Sandeep Pandit, who has been one of the greatest contestants on Masterchef Australia Season 11. So let's not wait and let's talk to him. So Sandeep, I would like to ask you the very first question. Because we have seen how remarkable your journey has been on MasterChef Australia. So I would like to ask you. You have quite a remarkable cultural background. How has these cultures influenced you as a chef?
Uh, Thank you for asking that question because I think in the first two episodes of MasterChef that got answered. I had actually cooked a very traditionally Kashmiri feast of Rogan Josh, tahar, which is a rice dish, mujh which is like a mooli ka raita, and haq, which are greens. The flavors were impeccable, and that's why everyone loved it. But I had a technical flaw in that. The lamb was a bit hard, and the judges were like, you definitely know how to cook. Your flavors are right up there. But before we give you that apron, we'd like to see if you to cook again. So I actually got my apron in my second cook, where I cooked a prawn curry, which was prawn curry and cumin rice, which was inspired from my other mother that adopted us, our entire community, Karnataka. You've got to treat your lands like your moms. So I made a prawn curry which was in Mangalorean style, and that's how I got my apron. So I think the influence of being born to a Kashmiri Pandit family, and then growing up in this incredible land of Karnataka, both of them took me onto that pedestal, and I'm very thankful for that cultural upbringing.
Okay, and how much Australia has influenced your cooking?
A lot. I think Australia taught me that there is a lot more to global cuisine than I know. Melbourne, in particular, is a melting pot. There are a lot of ancient cuisines that are appreciated and loved over there. Like the Greeks are there, the Italians, so the Roman cooking is there, Chinese are there, we are there, there's classical French cooking. There are people from Arabian Peninsula. So, in a nutshell, Australia actually got me introduced to world foods the way nothing else has.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So my next question would be, did you have a professional cooking experience? I mean, did you take any professional course in cooking?
Actually not, because one of the prerequisites to be in MasterChef Australia is that you should have never entered a commercial kitchen, and you cannot have a certification of any kind in culinary from a culinary school. So no, I was completely self-trained. I think a lot of disasters in kitchen have helped me be where I am. But
Okay.
yes, you can't be in MasterChef Australia if you're not a trained cook.
Okay, that's quite interesting actually. Yeah. So my next question would be, who was or is that one person that influenced the passion for cooking?
I would actually attribute it to three of them who symbolize mother like no one else. Both my grandmothers and my mom. Motherhood in itself is it's common to all ladies. Everyone who's blessed with a child has that beautiful thing. So all three of them have bestowed their love and culinary technique into me. Both my grandmothers aren't there anymore, but I think through my cooking, they live on. So I'd say the three mothers that I've had in my life, the real ones, both my grandmoms and my mom, they are the inspiration.
That's amazing. Okay, that's great. Okay, tell me something about that. What is the role that spices play in enhancing the flavor or the taste of a dish?
I like to put it like this. Spices play the role of an instrument in a song. The dish are the vocals. It could be a protein, it could be a vegetable, it could be anything. And you can celebrate the dish on its own. Like Italian cuisine to me is like an opera without without an instrument in the background, or with only few instruments. But I call the Indian cuisine as an entire orchestra. So your main ingredient, it could be paneer, it could be a gobi, it could be lamb, chicken, whatever you want, is that song. And spices are the music that make that song far more pleasurable than it would be on its own. That's how I see spices.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So, is there, okay, what would you like to say on your, curry controversy? I'm sure you will remember it. So, I would like to ask you this thing that was it a convenient choice or a calculated move that you took in the MasterChef?
Well, I would say it was neither a calculated move nor a convenient choice. It was, and in Hindi, as we say, मैं अड़ गया था. I was absolutely hell bent and stuck because as we were getting auditioned, one of the people from the production houses made a comment. All right, Meg, we'd look forward to see you making butter chicken and naan. And I took an offense to that. I said our cuisine is far more than just butter chicken and naan. And if I cook one dish from every region of India, all the way from the first cook-off to the finale, I would still not have even scratched the surface of how deep our cooking and how deep our cuisine is. And that's what I wanted to showcase. I cooked food, or I cooked dishes from all parts of the country, from Kashmir, from Punjab, from Kolkata, from Maharashtra, from Kerala, from Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, a lot of places. So I cooked food from all of these places, and I was just hell bent upon ensuring that I showcase Indian cuisine. But yes, there was a controversy, and I guess it was more an outcome of people not knowing enough. Sometimes I feel Indians ourselves, we don't appreciate and understand our cuisine. And when I did the show called India Unplated, it was quite evident. And it was more a lack of people knowing what's happening rather than it being a controversy of my creation.
Right. Okay. So since you have been making a lot of curry, I would like to ask you one other thing, that what is it one thing about Kashmiri Pandit cuisine that sets it apart from the other Kashmiri foods?
I think I would like to begin with saying that curry is the common word that Britishers gave to us when they went to Tamil Nadu, and they picked up the word. Anything that was made in a sauce in Tamil is called a curry, and that's how the word curry came. Our cuisine is quite refined, and there's a lot to it. For example, you asked me about the Kashmiri Pandit cuisine. The uniqueness about Kashmiri Pandit cuisine is that in traditional Kashmiri Pandit cuisine, there is no use of onions, garlic, or even tomatoes. In fact, tomatoes itself were accepted in the culinary circles of Kashmiri Pandits quite late. But in a Kashmiri Pandit Rogan Josh for that matter, the flavor is kind of derived from exquisite use of Kashmiri red chilies, Kashmiri garam masala, and dry ginger.
Okay.
And fennel powder, of course.
Okay. Okay. This may be out of the line maybe, but I would like to ask you this thing, that the Kashmiri Pandit can eat the non-vegetarian food, but they do not eat the onion or the garlic, per se. What is the reason behind this? I mean, what is the logic behind it?
So, if you see from an Ayurvedic concept, onions and garlic are considered Rajasic foods.
Yes.
All right. It's not. I'm not talking about Tamasic food. I'm talking about Rajasic food. These are the foods that invariably will make the stomach upset.
Yeah.
But it's not that we don't like the flavor, and that's why we use hing or asafoetida quite literally in our cooking. So that's what gives that flavor of onions and garlic. Kashmiri food, in its essence, is still based on that ancient Ayurvedic concepts of food, meat is an essential part, but that's not the only part. I mean, in this day and age where availability is no longer a problem, affordability isn't a problem. You see people having like 13, 14 different dishes of meat. But in historic times, even if you go back as little as 100 years, meat was one of the parts in the meal, and there were a lot of carbs. There were a lot of other, um, vegetarian proteins like dal, a lot of greens, a lot of fruit, a lot of dry fruit, and it
Hmm.
was more of a balanced diet. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's actually a myth that Brahmins or Pandits never ate meat. Everybody ate meat at one point of time, but then different schools of thoughts, different cultures within our country chose a different path and choice of food. Like onset of Buddhism influenced the choice of eating meat in the plains, but in Kashmir, the Shaivic traditions always called for eating of meat, and we kind of continued it. And likewise is the case with Bengali Brahmins or Gaud Saraswat Brahmins in Karnataka, who
Hmm.
incidentally we all apparently share the same lineage of Saraswat Brahmins. So
Right.
we've got there is convenience in mass knowledge, but fortunately, if you just dig deep into how vibrant and vivid our food traditions were, the answers are all out there.
Okay. Okay. I understand. Okay, so what are your views on Indian cuisine touching the global heights? I mean, I would like to ask you what else could be done to make it one of the top cuisines of the world? Like, what measures have you taken, or maybe you plan to take, to make it to the top of the world? What would you say on that?
Uh, well, I think it's a very fair question, and one of the answers is quite evident. If you look at the show, or like shows such as MasterChef, historically MasterChef has always been about celebrating MasterChef Australia, that is celebrating the multiculturalism of Australia. And in the initial 2 to 3 seasons, Indian food was only relegated to a couple of so-called curry dishes. But of late, at least from the last 3 to 4 seasons. I remember season, I reckon it was 8,
Mm-hmm.
and there was this lady by the name of Nidhi, and she made chole bhature, uh, and it wasn't chickpea curry and deep fried flatbread. The
Okay.
judges called it chole bhature, and they shared their experience of actually going to Delhi, eating this food, or going to Amritsar and eating this food. Then in our season, another contestant made aloo bengan and a couple of other things. And she called it aloo bengan. It was not stir fried eggplant and potatoes with
Mm-hmm.
spices. Indian food is coming out of that curry closet, and now dishes are being called from the region, and they're giving like South Indian food is getting that soul food criteria. North Indian food's rich heritage is being celebrated. In my opinion, one of the things that I've personally been very proud of doing is that we recently finished filming and of course presenting India Unplated in Australia on SBS Food, and there we chose to showcase recipes from all the states of we took 10 states of India and a festival which was Diwali, and we showcased how vivid and how vibrant Indian cuisine is. So I think the next level is that, like how you have Le Cordon Bleu for French cooking, there has to be, IHM has to come out and have a global level course that
Mm-hmm.
celebrates Indian cooking traditions, such as dungar, such as, in Kashmiri we call it kraipa, using a hot wok of oil to replace a pressure cooker, or dum cooking, uh, or the marination techniques that we have, the biryani traditions that we have, or the spice traditions that we have. And in all of that, I guess the creation of the Spice Angel, my brand, is also towards that direction.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so my next question would be, we have seen you, throughout your journey in MasterChef. We have seen you specialize in Indian cooking or Indian cuisine. But, being in the international market, does it affect you? I mean, not maybe knowing other cuisines or not making other cuisines. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm actually quite accomplished in multiple cuisines apart from just Indian. I've done a very deep study of the French cooking. I can't say that I have a formal training in it, but I'm highly inspired by it. My Southeast Asian cooking teacher is my very good friend Tati Karlan, who was from our season, and I learned a lot of about Southeast Asian cuisine from her. I have taken sessions and given sessions to multiple schools on how to make quick and simple Italian food right from the scratch. Like I make a flawless pasta dough, and thank God for all the machinery that we have at home. Make fresh pasta whenever I need. Uh, but I firmly believe that people such as me who have an international platform can easily get swayed by creating or showcasing stuff which looks classy, is like a degustation, 7 course degustation, and I put like a tiny morsel of food and I say that I put 18 elements in it. I think we have to come off that, and we have to take pride in our thali. As something as simple as a thali. To me, thali is the original degustation, where you have 15 to 20 or sometimes 56 chappan bhog, 56 dishes, tasting menu of all of that, and have pride in it. So why is it that people, when they say that I'm a classically French trained cook, he's never said that, hey, do you cook Indian or do you cook Italian, or why don't you cook Mexican food? If someone says that I'm a trained Italian chef, whenever someone comes from a European school of cooking, people just give them a standing ovation. But if someone says that I'm good at Indian cooking and that's what I specialize at, it's almost considered a sacrilege that they don't, they wouldn't know any other form of cooking. I respect all forms of culinary traditions, and I derive a lot of learnings from them. For example, I think French have this incredible way of if you were to cook meat, I think French do an incredible job at it, because they use everything from snout all the way to trotters. But I think as Indians, we elevate it to the next level, because if that is the song, we bring in the acoustics and we bring in the music from our spice tradition. So, still would want to be considered an Indian cuisine specialist. But I'd also say that yes, I do create dishes which look familiar to someone who's from the Western society, but has a very deep Indian soul or Indian cooking traditions in it. One of the examples would be my sambar masala smoked wings, where I use so I've got my own traditional sambar masala blend as a part of the Spice Angel. We use it, so I use it as how you would use 3 to 4 different chilies while making buffalo wings. I marinate them, so the marination style is very Mughlai or very North Indian, and then instead of putting it on a tandoor, I smoke them using an apple or a cherry wood. And paste them so it's basically bringing 2 or 3 different techniques together, but keeping the flavor profile very Indian. I think that is the way ahead. That is the way we can showcase the depth and the complexity of our food to the world.
Okay, great. And I think this would be my last question to you, but I would like to ask you, what are your future plans? What do you think is, do you have something in your mind for your future, or what do you think about it?
Well, the vision statement, if I have to make one that I have in my life, is, I'd like to be the voice of Indian food in the Western world, or at least one of the most prominent voices of Indian food in the Western world. I think I've already started taking steps from it. I would want, my personal brand, the Spice Angel, to be representative of the traditional lesser-known cookings and spice blends across India and maybe across the world, and preserve some of those traditions. So that's what I see for myself. Hopefully, television is one of the mediums that I'm finding that is quite potent. Masterchef Australia took me to places where I never thought I'd be. India Unplated has brought me attention that I never thought I would get. But yeah, I think I'm on that journey of being the voice of Indian food in the Western world.
Okay, that's superb, Chef. It was really, really nice talking to you. I have had a very, uh, interesting interaction with you, and it was really, really nice, interviewing you and to know you and to know more about your journey on the MasterChef Australia. So I would, like to sign off by saying good luck to you, and
Thank you.
may you shine in the future, and
Thank
have
you.
a great, great journey ahead in the, around the world.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank,
It's very
thank you.
humbling and very kind that journalists such as yourself take time to interview folks like me. So thank you so much for taking that time out. And I wish you best of luck as well. Hopefully, this is one of the many conversations that we'll have, and I'll have more stories to tell you as we go on.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.